team with the skills and knowledge to meet today's health challenges. Ultimate Health is live on Facebook and YouTube. Don't miss it.
Joy 99.7 FM. Joy 99.7 FM. Joy 99.7 FM.
Yeah, that's my tune. Almost 2:05, but we're alive. Yeah, some call it a program, I call it a promise. Some call us a frequency, I say we're family. Welcome aboard. Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM with me, Nortey by nature. Yeah, I know you know. We've been around 31 years. Definitely we're more than cooked. I'm ready to serve, you know what I mean? All right, Felix.
Joy 99.7 FM. Joy 99.7 FM.
Chua! Chua! examined our drive to end malaria. I promised to do a second take. Due to some circumstances, I've had to do a switch. Of course, May 1st, International Labor Day, Workers' Day, if you may, on 1st May. So today we're going to be looking at workplace health, occupational health. Yeah. Work essentially, primarily should be healthy. Yeah? Don't you think? Nobody would design work that would harm you, right? But there's a whole discipline that looks at, workplace health. Is your work harming you? Is it helping you? How do we keep you happy, healthy, and productive? Of course, many of you are more conversant with risks and hazards, and of course, you'll add safety to occupational health, right? So we're going to be talking about that today. My guest in the studio. Currently, I have Dr. Adejoke Ainigbe, specialist physician, and she's also specialized in occupational health. She's with the Medics Clinic, a new facility that's popped up at the Che Ado area.
Monkey go market. Will come back.
And we're expecting alongside her a friend of the program, Reverend Dr. Ernest Enim Opari. He's a senior resident in sports and exercise and rehabilitation medicine at the Kolibu Polyclinic, Family Medicine Department. And he's also with Health Essentials Limited. So we're looking at occupational health, and we're going to, get a sense of how our work impacts on our health and what the concerns and the specialty is. Doctor, you say I should call you Joke. Joke. Yeah, can you speak up a bit?
Joke.
Yeah, Joke. Okay, not joke.
I get that a lot.
You get a lot of people joking with your name. Right. You're most welcome to Ultimate Health. Right. And you specialize in the area of occupational health.
Well, I'm a family physician, but I do have a background in occupational health and safety.
Okay, right. And we're going to be looking at that on the heels of Workers' Day, International Labor Day, right? Mm-hmm. Very often we celebrate workers, and many people think, it's something workers deserve. That's properly put, okay? But when we start to talk about workplace health or occupational health, many people think this is something that is delivered or is the preserve of the employer, right? I see it, or I prefer to see it, as a partnership between employees and the employer. But it's great I have you in the studio, and you'll be joined by Ernest shortly. So if you can set us off by, defining the domain. When we say occupational health, what are we talking about?
Okay, so occupational health is, I'll say it's it's three-pronged, really.
Okay.
So the aim is to achieve the highest level of health, physically, mentally, and socially.
Okay.
For all workers.
Just move the mic closer to you.
Okay.
Yeah, great. Lovely.
Okay. So for all workers, and then when we say workers also, we tend to think either office or whatever, but it says all workers in all occupations, irrespective.
Anybody engaged
as
in
long
work.
as you are working,
Right.
anywhere you term your workplace, be it at the roadside or in a factory or in an office,
Okay.
your right to have the best environment to work in.
Okay.
And
Okay.
pretty much.
So we are concerned about the person working, right?
Yeah.
How they work,
Yeah.
what the work entails,
Yes.
right? And then you're also, focused also on the environment, the work environment.
Yes.
How is it structured? How is it put together? What are the schedules and the routines? And do they also impinge or possibly impact on health and well-being?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, if I enter the job and let's say, presumably, I enter healthy, listening to you, then that means that you are expecting, or hopefully not expecting, that my undertaking of that task or work would impact negatively on my health,
Yes.
which I brought to the workplace.
Yes, that's correct.
Right.
Yes.
So occupational health is looking at safeguarding all of these factors and making sure that we all enjoy the optimal health and wellness,
Correct.
right? And also, of course, achieve higher efficiency and productivity.
Yes.
Okay. Share with us or share with my listeners a bit about this. I like to look at it as a partnership, right? A joint responsibility of the employee and the employer.
Yes.
Share with us that perspective.
Okay, so basically, while the employers have a duty of care onto you, like when you come to work as an employer, I want to make sure that the environment is right,
Okay.
your chair is right. I train you.
Okay.
But then as the employee, also, it's up to me to also, okay, I've been trained.
Right.
So I'm going to stick to what I've been trained about.
Okay.
Am I also taking care of myself?
Okay.
Am I sleeping well? Am
Okay.
I eating right? Am I using any substances
Okay.
or anything that may impair me being able to function maximally
Right.
at work? Because both factors work hand in hand, just like
So
you've
what
stated.
what I, the employee, bring to work on a daily basis
Yes.
is my business. I have also been trained, right? The training or whatever I receive, right, can be termed part of the employer's responsibility. But having been trained, I have a duty also to go about my duties and tasks in a manner that doesn't, should I say, impact or compromise my health and well-being.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Then you talked about other things. I'm of course looking at after myself, sleeping well, and all that. So I
Yes.
do arrive at work in a good state, presumably.
yes.
Right. Okay. That's my responsibility. Okay. We've just been joined by our good friend. Do I still add the Reverend? You're adding too many things. The Reverend Dr. Ernest Enimo Pari, an old friend of the program. I used to call him my super sub because I was training him to, kind of take over. Ernest, you don't believe I retired, So, but these days when I'm looking for him, he's out with the national team. He's doing sports and rehabilitative medicine and and also at the Kolebu Polyclinic and of course Health Essentials. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you in our country. These days, when I ask of you, you are with the team in Paris. Please, which of our teams? Who are those taking you outside playing till like that?
So,
Speak up, speak up, speak up.
I think 2 years ago, yes, I was at the Olympic Games in Paris.
You're yet to bring me any trophy.
At least there's one.
There's one.
2021, the under 21,
Okay.
the AFCON
All right.
trophy in Mauritania.
Mhm.
So, yes, we have at least one trophy in our.
You won't even invite me. I said, oh.
Yes, boss.
Okay.
Good
So,
afternoon to our listeners and good afternoon to Dr. Jekwe.
all
Good
right.
afternoon, Dr. Ernest.
Okay, so we've been describing or defining occupational health. Okay, one of the things I wanted to, should I say, underscore is this partnership of responsibility between the employer and the employee when it comes to occupational wellness, right, or occupational health.
Yes.
Okay, so let's say, for example, I'm supposed to wear certain safety gear as I do my program, or I'm not supposed to raise the volume of my headsets such that it may affect my ears, and so on and so forth. And I've been trained. Keep your levels on this level, and so on and so forth. The monitors are there for me to see the level, but then I use it recklessly or irresponsibly. Then I go and say to my employer, the headphones have affected my hearing. So I do have a dual responsibility alongside my employer. Okay. Ernest, let me ask you, does the average Ghanaian buy into this partnership? Right? Because I know years back, radio, let me use radio, the chairs, the this and that, there's supposed to be a certain type of swivel chair which allows certain adjustments and so on and so forth. Okay? I'm sure you're familiar with Dr. Philip Amu in Kolebu, right? I used to do programs with him and corporate bodies where we're looking at even the furniture and so on, the lighting and many other things, right? But do you think the average Ghanaian worker buys into this partnership?
Once again, good afternoon to you and our listeners. It's always a privilege to be here. It's a difficult question because I don't have any empirical basis to posit whether there are fewer or more Ghanaians who are into this. However, based on my clinical experience, I have come across quite a number who actually don't, maybe out of insufficient knowledge or perhaps unavailability of these protective equipment, engage a lot in these things that expose them to the hazard. So the other thing is that sometimes some of these people get a bit complacent because maybe you are exposed to a particular hazard for a long time, but because you don't sustain any injury, you are more likely to continue in this bad attitude. But one other challenge that I realized based on our contextual data is that in Ghana, according to the Ghana Statistical Service, majority of the people as just discussed, who are in work are in the informal sector.
Right.
So they are either self-employed or engaging in a trade. And really, it's hard to legislate against those people because if they are selling their wares on a table, and you come and say, it's good for you to engage in a better chair for the sake of your posture and the long-term consequences.
When I'm pushing Banku.
Exactly. and they are selling the thing maybe in their own restaurant or in front of their house or in the market. They own it. So they don't even see the other person coming to legislate. But that's why this program is important because it's about their health and not just about the legislation.
Right. I'm glad you chipped that in because very often when I do these programs, I get people who say, I sew. I'm a tailor or a seamstress. These are the commonplace furniture we use. Okay, I experience a lot of musculoskeletal or back pain or shoulder this or that and that and that. But they came to meet the trade and the kind of furniture and the posture that goes with it, whether it's a kiosk or even an air-conditioned place. This is how they sit, right? So they typically don't buy in because they are the employer and the employee.
Exactly.
Right? So if you're listening to us, this is a very important aspect of the discussion. Let me switch to the other side. Do employers buy into this, that they are responsible and they are, expected in many places by law, right, to provide the optimal, conducive work environment, right, and training and protective gear and all the other things when it comes to hazards and risks? Do employers buy into this?
I think for a long-standing, occupational health has always been this sort of back and forth between what employers should do and what they're doing.
Okay.
And from what I've seen, even worldwide, only about, say, 60% of employers, 50 to 60% of employers actually abide by all these legislations, even in the developed countries.
Okay.
So when we come down to Africa, where we have so many people in informal sectors, it seems like most of the employers that would do this are those that are being held up to a standard.
Okay.
So you may see like the major oil companies, the major because they do have to meet a standard.
Okay.
So they do it because they have to. But so a lot of times, I've not really worked in health and safety per se, like going around into companies to check.
Field work,
But generally speaking, if nobody is holding me accountable, I'll do what I need to do. Basically.
Okay. Great stuff. You've just joined us. 21 minutes past your hour. 2 on Joy 99.7 FM. We're getting into the area of occupational health, workplace health, and of course safety tags along there because there are many risks and hazards you may be exposed to at work. If your work, entails some exposure to risk and hazards, it's likely that your job description and the specification of tasks and so on includes protective measures that have been taken to safeguard your health and well-being, right?
Yeah.
All right. Many people think that these haven't been done. I see welders welding and they say, oh, Charlie, this is how we weld. They are holding some piece of what's left of dark glasses and they are welding, okay? And they are exposed to the sparks, the bits and pieces flying around, and so on and so forth, okay? Somebody's frying kose, right? And they drop it into the fire, or keleole, and all the stuff that goes on, all right? Okay, so these are the kinds of things we are talking about, and my guest will be leading us as we go along. There are laws, okay? I'll dig up a couple in a bit. I know there's ISO 4,500 and, 4,500 and something. Is it 1 or 4 or 6, right? That is an international standard, an ISO standard that can actually be used to should I say, get the index of occupational health and wellness at a workplace, okay? The same way you hear certain people saying we are ISO certified, yes, there's an international labor standard that looks at some of these things, and some of these things also trickle into our local laws and workplaces. So be mindful of these things. Okay, having said that, right, so I'm an employee. I go to work every day. Should I have any concerns?
Yes, you should. Like you alluded to, there are certain standards that have to be adhered to. To start with, before your employment, it is good for you to have your baseline medical check. And
This pre-employment medical screening.
Very important.
Charlie, everybody loves to dodge, right? Tell us a bit about that.
So it's important. Many a time, people would think, like you said, skipping it is more either because of cost or more convenient. They want to go, or they think they may even lose the job offer. But in a very good company, the baseline medical check is not just supposed to, preclude you from the employment, but also it assists in placing you. So you may have same capacity or qualification with another person, but as a result of the screening that happens, because remember, these are not just laboratory, like you said, it's pre-employment medical examination. So it comes with the physical examination, it comes with your medical history, and then of course
that was
laboratory
why
tests.
I was very, 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 very upset with this whole thing that happened at LWAC. Unfortunately, some young people lost their lives. They're going to be screened, but at the end of that thing, there's also a medical screening. Do you see? So this was just the prelims, right? And the whole organization of it, okay, exposed so many people to so much stress and maybe danger that ended in some fatalities. But we need to take these things seriously. We need to know who we are employing, right, and what they bring. Okay. Having said that, right, and put the emphasis on it. So if I have some challenge, let me behave as a stubborn academy person. I have a challenge. I've gotten an opportunity. I've been maybe invited, right? It looks like I might get the job. Should I or should I not disclose that I may have a little this or that in terms of health status? Either of you can take that.
You must actually disclose it, because
Charlie, the jobs are not there.
the thing is,
Even after they said 24 hours, 3 by 3 by 4, something, 3 jobs, 3 shifts, it hasn't happened yet. Too. I've got a job. I have a little health challenge. You are suggesting under this umbrella of occupational workplace health that it is important and required for me to disclose.
it's important to so if you've come for a screening,
Right.
it's important that you let the doctor know everything. So I've had maybe you've had seizures in the past.
Okay.
I'm on seizure medicine. Oh, I've not had one, but you had one like 9
So my
months.
seizures are controlled.
Yes, they're controlled.
But I have a seizure
but I have
disorder.
a seizure disorder.
Okay.
So it's important you say that so that we know. Because if you have a seizure disorder, you had one 9 months ago, there's a chance. So you're not someone that you'll be driving.
Okay.
Or you'll be working with heavy machinery.
Okay.
Because you put yourself and those around you at risk. And like we always say, pre-employment is not, like I said, it's not to screen you out of the job.
Right.
It's just to ensure the job is suitable for you, and
Right.
you're also suitable
You
for that
also
job.
must be suitable for the job.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, folks, you're hearing this, Ultimate Health Joy 99.7. If you have any challenge, it is in your best interest. I always say that recruitment is actually a statement of confidence. If we take you, what we are essentially saying is that you are better than the person we did not take. And we need to validate that decision, right? And we need to be able to base it on a full set of information about you, right? So once you are close to getting taken or retained, all the questions and processes are actually in your interest. Okay, if we select you for medical school, please, we're saying the people we didn't select are not as good as you. And we'll take you through things that firm up our selection criteria. If you have any questions, concerns, WhatsApp is 055 11 11 997. Shortly, I'll activate the phone lines. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and X. This is Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM.
Joy.
We're taking a look on the heels of International Labor Day. That's the real name, okay? May Day, Workers' Day. We're taking a look at workplace or occupational health. And safety comes in as well, okay, when we start to talk about things. I remember starting work at the psychiatric hospital years back. And there was this thing about risk allowance. And they were telling us that, initially we're doing national service, so we don't qualify for any risk allowance. And risk had been defined as working with dangerous, hazardous chemicals or working at a height. I said, we are working in a psychiatric institution. I know in other places there are risk, should I say, parameters that are appropriate for where I'm working. You're saying that if I'm not climbing a ladder and I'm not handling hazardous chemicals, I don't qualify. So I remember I raised a bit of an argument about that. That was with the medical school way back. National service power, this man is bringing. I said, yes, but what? These are things that are part of this domain we're talking about.
Yes.
Risk allowance and so on and so forth.
Yes.
Right?
So,
but it doesn't mean that we'll pay you so that you expose yourself to the risk.
not at all.
Right, let's explain that part.
Yeah, so it's important. This based on this backdrop. So the whole concept about occupational health became even more common after the Second World War. If you look at the records from the ILO from 1950, where the burden of workplace ill health was mainly due to injuries.
All right.
Then by 50 years down the line, it shifted to just what you enumerated, where it's not just injuries, but you're exposed to, according to the WHO model, you have the physical, which many people would limit it to. But there's the biological, there is the chemical,
Right.
then there is the economic.
And all of these are hazards.
Hazards.
And risks.
And
Okay.
risk. So the fact that somebody works in a space where there seem to be no physical hazard, there seem to be no chemical hazard, there seem to be no biological hazard. What we may forget is that there are two that are common in most workplaces. That is the ergonomic and the psychosocial. So in the example that you cited, of course you didn't have to climb a height to work, as it were.
Okay.
But you were going to be confronted on a daily basis with psychosocial burden, having to see patients whether you are burnout, having to see different kind of patients and bottle up without engaging in any kind of what do we call it? Any kind of being burnt out or all of that. So it is essential that it is incorporated in your final remuneration.
Risk is a very broad spectrum.
Yes,
That's
it
what
is.
we're telling listeners.
Yes,
Risk
it is
is a
not
very
just
broad
physical.
spectrum. Don't mind us in the health sector talking as if it is only these ones, right? You may be exposed to risk, and indeed, that also brings in the issue of training, right? Because if I've been taken for a job, right, I come with certain skills, but I need a certain orientation and training as well. Does that factor into my occupational health and wellness and my fitness for the job?
Oh yes, training is important. It's because even if you have, like, okay, maybe I've been to school, I've studied, I'm now
So relevant
a
experience,
professional,
right?
But it's different translating that to the workplace
Right.
where I am. So everybody must know, okay, this is the ideal. What we should be trained on, how to handle probably substances,
Right.
how to handle
Even scenarios.
interaction, exactly, scenarios, interaction with maybe patients, with staff, with other employees, your employers. So training is so important.
Part and parcel.
Yes,
right.
and it's not even meant to be a one-off thing. Ideally, it's something that you shouldn't, like. Oh, I was trained when I was employed 10 years ago, and so
Okay.
now there's no need. It's just something that should be ongoing.
Right. Okie dokie. If you just joined us, it's 32 minutes past the hour of 2 on Joy 99.7 FM. Interesting discussion on the heels of Workers' Day, May Day. Today is the 3rd, actually. The year's galloping, eh? That's even a health risk, right? but I have Dr. Joke. She says, I shouldn't say joke. Let me call her Dr. Joke, but she's a physician specialist and has an interest and some qualification in occupation health and safety. She's with the Medics Clinic, a new facility that has sprung up in the Che Ado area. Che Ado. I need to meet that Che Ado. Yeah, but it's a growing area, but there's a health facility there called Medics Clinic. Right? Next to her, Dr. Ernest, Reverend Dr. Yeah, Charlie. The Reverend, Reverend Dr. Ernest Enimo Parry, family medicine. You're now a senior resident.
Yes, please.
You haven't finished.
No, I finished.
You finished
the
and now,
membership.
yes. So you have membership. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Family medicine, sports and rehabilitative medicine at the family medicine department of the Kolibu Polyclinic. But he's bigger than that, too. He's also at Health Essentials, and then he's been traveling plenty with our teams because of sports medicine. He's brought a couple of trophies and lots of pictures, right? I've got somebody here who says he's giving you some thumbs up. He says, good afternoon to everyone on the show, especially my very own brother, Reverend Dr. Ernest Enim Parry. I'm proud of you, my brother, and I'm already enjoying the show. Eugene Apia Bosumtri Senior, Yonkers, New York. Hey, bro.
Yeah, that's my brother.
Direct brother.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Ernest is my younger brother, so then you are my brother. Ernest is an Odadie. I did 6th form at Presec, so we share
Anyway,
that.
Eugene went to St. Augustine, so I don't know whether you'll be friends with him.
Oh, those seaside boys. All right. This one said it is indeed supposed to be a partnership between the employer and the employee. However, reality is that it is not in most cases. Most employers got bad working conditions and environment, and most employees pretend to execute the task assigned. I always remind my colleague employers about how if they could do it alone, then we wouldn't need extra hands. We need each other. Okay, it's about the partnership and the responsibility. If you have anything, you can share it. WhatsApp is 055 11 11 997. Phone line 030 221 6541. 030 221 6541. You can get in on the action on Ultimate Health, Joy 99.7 FM with me, Nortey by nature, and my guests.
Joy 99.7 FM.
So we're getting a sense of this, right? Training is important. Pre-employment screening is important. So let's say I have been trained. I'm on the job. Does it mean, okay, I'm cool now, you can leave me alone, I'm not a bother, you do with new recruits and other new people. What is the expected practice? Are we screening and measuring and monitoring along the line, and therefore there are indicators that will tell us that this workplace is not so healthy? Indeed, I've done programs with workplaces that we even labeled as toxic, right? But is there a continuous monitoring of the workplace and its employees and its environment, Dr. Joke?
Okay, yeah. So it's not a one-off thing.
Okay.
So health-wise, if you do your pre-employment screening, we advocate for periodic health screening.
Okay.
So that's while you are still within the job. So maybe every year, if you don't have any medical conditions, we encourage employers to get their employees checked. And nowadays, we try to let them know that a healthy workforce is more money for you.
Right.
People are not going off because they are sick.
And it's not a fixed entity.
And yes,
they may be healthy in May, but not healthy in October.
Exactly.
Right. There may be seasonal patterns you need to look at and many other things. Right.
Yeah, so it should be continuous in just health-wise, but also looking at the environment.
Okay.
You need to see lighting. How are the chairs? Is there dust control?
Okay.
How often are you servicing your equipment? So maybe initially your extractors were perfect.
Please say that one again. Some people need to hear.
How often you service your equipment are very important, because initially maybe your extractors are working fantastically, but now they are clogged up and they're not extracting as much.
Okay.
So there are monitoring that should be done periodically for optimization of both employer and employee.
Right. In my other caps I wear, right, I work in various spaces, especially employee assistance programs and many other things, okay? There are many tools in the UK, I've forgotten the name now, I'll remember it in a bit. But these are specialized tools and questionnaires that are administered and by law are supposed to be administered on a regular periodic basis. And they'll tell you whether you have high turnover, whether your workers are stressed, whether they are this, whether the environment is this and that and that and that and that and that. Are we working with such a regime in Ghana? Okay, I've shied away from the laws because I don't want to get too technical. But these are tools that when you apply, they can declare the workplace, unsafe or A-OK, green. And, you know where you are, so to speak. You know the state of the nation, in quotes, as with regards to your workplace. Do we have any of these?
Yeah, so I have engaged, I'll say, a number of companies or corporate bodies who are willing to roll this out. And it's easier because many of the employees who work in this space are able to answer to some of these questionnaires. One very popular one with regards to assessing psychosocial stress at work is the Workplace Stress Survey, which is just a 10 question tool that just assesses how stressed an employee is. And just like you said, which is important, it's not just about a categorical definition to say I'm stressed, I'm not stressed. It is more of a continuum. So every quarter, if in the first quarter,
measurement.
So in first quarter, if I scored 20, and that is fine, and I'm not stressed, and the next quarter, second quarter, I scored 25 or 30. Even though I may be below the threshold of being stressed. You may have to quickly find out what may have precipitated that change before it becomes a fully blown out, burnt out situation. Because these things build up, and depending on the coping mechanism of the individual, is it the work schedule? Is it, it's a popular workplace quartet. Is it the demand at work? Is it it's quite common, the insufficient remuneration or the working environment. So it's important. It's done in some institutions. But there again, the challenge, like we discussed, is that in Ghana, majority of our workers are in the informal sector. So we need to engage more, not just like you said, not just the legislative part, but ways where perhaps we could do this routinely amongst people who are in the informal sector as well.
Great stuff. Tell us what you think. Phone lines are active 030-221-6541. Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, and X as well. My guests are firing. They're telling you things you should go and ask your boss. But your boss is also listening, and will have things to ask you. That's the real purpose of the program, to not only inform, but to transform. All right? So if there's something going on at your workplace that you think compromises or impacts or impinges on your health or well-being, share with us, right? Let's see how we pass it through the mail. But some of these things are dictated by law and are regulated. Indeed, years back, I did something with an organization here, and it was indicated because a certain audit has been done, and their international office says they are in the red and they must do a local audit in the Ghana office here, right? Part of it was what they called a stress audit across various job descriptions, okay? Some of these things are very costly, right? And I know it was knocked off at some point on the basis of cost or postponed, okay? But over time, the red came again from the international HQ, telling the Ghana office that you are required to do these things. And indeed, we are noting certain trends and patterns and profiles. A high turnover, at this, at that, at that, at that. Some experts had raised also certain issues and so on and so forth. Okay? So where these things are regulated and undertaken consistently, it protects everybody. It protects the employer's investment, and it protects you, the employee, as well. It's very, very important to know these things. My guests are still on fire here. This one says, "Blessed Sunday, my brother." Nortey, as usual. We are seated as good students learning from your guest physicians. My question has to do more with emotional health hazards at the workplace. What does constant tension and high levels of unfriendliness, hey, you put it modestly, between employers and employees affect one in such a workplace? And sometimes it's not just employers and employees. Sometimes employees and employees, okay? Don't just take it on that level. How constant verbal abuse, sexual abuse, and work overload affects a very desperate employee health-wise. This is from Prosper Domenyo Dakuman. the double D. I have somebody on the phone line. Let me take that and come back to this. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, who am I speaking to?
I'm Nana.
Nana, where are you calling from?
I'm currently at Medina.
You're currently at Medina. You're on the move, eh?
Yeah, I'm on the move.
All right, share with us. We're grateful. Share with us.
Okay, so my submission will be to my fellow employers. I always say that you should treat your human resources like the way you treat your machine. Because when we have machines functioning in our businesses, when it breaks down, you can't tell the machine to compromise. You have to fix it and make sure that it's taken care of properly so it can do what it has to.
All right.
So I always tell them to do same with their human resources. Don't ask them. If you see that you can see that the thing is not going well, you can do something about it. But you want them to compromise. You want them to do this because they are human beings. You don't really care. You think that's why you hire them.
Okay.
So let's treat our human resources. Let's give it that agency like we give it to our machines.
Right. Let me jump in here because you sound like you're an employer talking to fellow employers, right?
Yes.
What is their typical response to this advocacy you make?
It's fantastic. When it's time to work, we work. They know I don't play around when it's time to work. But when we are playing, we are playing. The work environment is really cool. They do what they have to do.
Hang on, you're talking about your workers, right?
Yes.
No, I'm asking you, when you make this advocacy plea to your fellow employers to treat their human resource like their machines they look after and so on, how do they respond?
Some of them, they listen. Some they don't. Honestly. Some don't. What I've realized is that the idea of work is scarce. If you leave, somebody will come. It runs through most of them. They feel like if you do, I'll get rid of you and I'll get another person to come and do the job.
Okay.
Yes. Recently, I went to visit someone that I do business with, and the way one of the managers were, dealing with a worker, I wasn't happy about it. So I quietly approached the manager. I tried to inquire why he went about the issue the way he did. She was dealing with a woman who was going through a menstrual cramp, a bad one, a first day, so it was kind of bad. And he didn't understand. And he was really hard on her. And I didn't get him. So I asked him, so you are blaming him for something that she didn't contribute to. And you are going so hard on her. Didn't solve anything really. So I asked if he would want me to ask their boss, have a conversation about this with his boss, and he was like, oh, he's sorry and it won't happen again. I just felt like he should go about it the way, because we men, we don't mainstream. So we can never understand. His idea was, well, you are grown up and you are supposed to be able to deal with it. And I was even trying to explain to him that I'm not a woman, but I've seen people menstruate whereby some of them, yes, it's very bad to the extent that it can get to this extent. So don't go with the assumption that it has to be the same for everybody.
Okay.
And he wasn't even listening.
Right. My brother.
Some of these things.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing this. Even the fact that the topic of the the disagreement between a manager and an employee became, should I say, known to you from a distance, just listening. My boss is grilling me about my menstrual cycle or whatever I'm going through, and you from a distance here and intervene, that is bad enough, right? Apart from the issue itself. But before I let you go, right? So how many people do you employ?
Oh, I have currently about 20.
20.
Yep.
Okay. And just out of interest, are you able to quantify how much you think you spend on occupational health?
Well, it goes into my profit, but at the end of the day, I will put it, this is how I see it.
You see it as an investment?
It's not necessarily as investment. Yes, I'm doing business, I want to make money, but I also see it to be that even the little that I have right now, me to me, be my name, Do you
Okay.
understand? So
Right.
if a little portion will go into making someone who works for me life better a little bit easier, so that they will give me more productivity and I will be able to make more, then I see it as a win-win for
Okay.
me, regardless.
Great stuff. Right. Would you love to share the name of your company, or you want to hide?
No.
You don't want to share. I knew it, huh? Like your employers will call, your employees will call. All right. Since he's very rich, please, Ziggy, take his number. He said, "Yeah, on to me, answer." Right? We'll go there and see him. But yet, you see, you will have to invest something into occupational health. And I believe that when you take something as an investment, then you do it properly. It's like paying school fees, right? And you're angry, right? So this is another angle that we need to look at. Prosper has asked about emotional abuse, sexual harassment, and a few other things. What are your comments on these? And let's bear in mind that there are ways and structures that measure these things as well.
Okay, I think in this situation, like I said at the beginning, occupational health is physical, is mental, is social. So obviously, someone under this circumstance, I don't think the person will be having fantastic mental health. Obviously, there's definitely something wrong here.
Right.
And he said, you need the job, but at the same, when I'm seeing even verbal abuse, sexual abuse, there's a point where we need to, draw the line. There must be somebody the person can speak with. Maybe it depends on how well. If
The
it's not a big company,
the workplace must have the paths for reporting,
exactly.
for addressing, for adjudicating some of these things when they get to the level of adjudication.
Yes.
Right? I'll tell you something based on the work I do, that when we started introducing the gender and many other things, University of Ghana, right, certain things were set up, right? Not just a department that looks at these things or runs courses in them. But many international students wanted to know if these safeguards were in place before they choose a university, Ghana or wherever, okay? And they look out for these things when they are selecting universities and courses, and people also look out for them the same way when they are selecting a job or an employer or a workplace. They are interested in knowing what safeguards are in place for these things, okay? They sound extreme, but they are hazards that need to be prevented, right? And if they can't be prevented or they have actually happened, need to be addressed within the workplace, right?
Yeah.
So I think that was what you were trying to say,
Yes, pretty
that
much,
this
yeah.
must be there. And if you're listening to us and you're not aware of any of these provisions at your workplace, share them and we can talk about it. But ideally, whatever is happening to you within the workspace should have an outlet where it can be identified, reported, and addressed. Indeed, many workplace issues that impact and impinge on health are due to some of these things that are not addressed, or workers seem to believe that if they raise them, they will be victimized. Ernest, am I?
Yeah, you're right. You're point on. And I think in addition to that, these days there's a lot of advocacy for creating different platforms, even when there's no such incident. So you don't even wait for an incident to occur before you engage them on an individual note. You would want to organize employee debates maybe quarterly or half yearly, just so that there's more engagement. This whole thing about waiting till
this is taboo.
waiting till the end of the year, that means that 12 months would have gone when some intervention could have taken place.
Right.
Yes, perfect.
Okay. This one is Nortey by nature. Can you please join me to make an appeal to the government to enable all workers who are on the NHIS to have a free medical screening once a year? Prosper from Dakuman is asking for this, right? If you are on NHIS, you are paying some money already, and therefore, why can't they have us all screened? Okay, Prosper, great idea, but your employer has some obligations as well. Okay, some of them sound like it's World Hepatitis Day, so they brought in some people. No, but there are things that should routinely be done and checked and documented at your workplace to protect everybody and make sure that everybody is okay. Supposing I'm working next to you and I have something it is unknown or not declared, right? Okay, you remember during COVID, if you had cases, you were supposed to declare, and at the height of the pandemic, departments or units were supposed to shut down, okay, and people didn't want to shut down, so they wouldn't declare, right? But it was for our collective safety. So let's be mindful of some of these things. Dede in Maryland is typing. Dede, how are you? She says, Town Council. Oops, what is it? Town Council. Was it not also not performing some functions regarding occupational health hazards, especially in the informal sector? Yes, they checked on some of these people. AMA appears to have assumed that responsibility, or is it not? So what's up with them? Dede is asking. So our local government apparatus has agencies and personnel that go out and check some of these things, right? Especially when it comes to sanitation and a few other things.
Yes, that's the point. So
right?
the hazards are in fivefold, like we described: physical, which is easy to tell. So if the agency or the municipality goes around, they can tell, okay, this is a market. If you left this gutter uncovered, or if you left this particular wire bare or naked, it's a hazard. So that's easy to pick. Biological, the person who is selling, assuming that you go back and cover the drainage.
Right.
The person sitting on that chair, like we described, or the seamstress or the tailor, the AMA may not be able to legislate and say, change your chair. They may recommend, but eventually the end user is the employee. So I agree that some aspects of this is being covered by some municipality, but again, they are in fivefold. So the physical, the biological, the chemical, and I think like Dr. Adejoke said, the chemical is actually followed up, especially in the mining industry where petroleum, they want to assess how much of the pollutant is in the atmosphere. That's also easy to regulate. I believe that with regards to occupational health, two areas that are not well explored or fully explored is the ergonomics and the psychosocial. Because the psychosocial is intangible. If you go and the person has been stressed,
It is actually measurable.
Yeah, it's measurable. I'm saying, unless you go the extra mile, if you just went there with an inventory, you may not be able to get people to voice out unless they have a system that is streamlined, particularly in the informal.
Very
sector.
well. But you see, the other side of occupational health is that if you are not investing in it, if you are not aware of it, if you are not, consistently checking and monitoring, it very quickly escalates to medico-legal challenges, right? And that is where I was going to come in when you said psychosocial, right? I remember during my late father's insurance case, it was a road traffic accident which caused him to have a stroke. And he was to be compensated, but the compensation was really looking at his physical state. And I raised hell that, wait, hang on a second. There's a whole psychological component, and I'm trying to remember the doctor in Kolebu then. So the lawyers raised this, and it changed the whole complex of the discussion, the court case, and all that. Okay, so these things, when brought up properly, right, and when well documented, measured, and so on, do count. Do you see?
You do.
Right?
Yes, they do.
So it's not just the physical or you pour some chemical on me or so on and so forth. These things can be measured, and there are measures that are validated even locally that can help ascertain these things.
Certainly.
Oh?
Yes, they are.
Okay. Right. We're almost out of time, but let me ask this thing. People do also play games. They're at work, they are not working, presenteeism. And then they are also bringing a lot of sick leave, absence from work because of, ill health. How do we place this? Because very often, people think it's not true. You just manage to get a piece of paper. And unfortunately, there are some doctors too who sign anything for anybody. Yes, I've said it. Yeah? Yes, I've said it. It's true. Okay, people come to me. Somebody had deferred a medical academic course for no reason and wanted me to write that they had been depressed for 2 years. I said, I don't know you and I don't write such letters. Right? So we are talking about occupational health, but what about people who are,
I agree there's a tendency to abuse on either side, but it looks like we focus more on the employee.
Okay.
However, as an employer, just like we said, to be fair, I mean, there are cases where you could tell this is fictitious, this is in doubt.
So, for example, you have a designated clinic that your worker should go to, or a designated physician that they should go to.
Yes.
Is that helpful? Does it bring in something?
Generally, there's some data to prove that when you have a designated, even in some cases, not just designated, but depending on how big the corporate firm is, they have what we call on-site clinics, where you can go there and then be assessed there, and then it helps you measure more objectively.
Okay.
But being a human institution, people have a tendency to always abuse. So if an excuse duty comes, and that's why firms should be able to enroll on medical practitioners or experts in this area. Because if an excuse duty comes quite often, let's even assume without admitting that it is true, then this particular person needs further medical
for us to know what
assessment. So that is a basis for you to go, and not to say the person is lying. Because if you say the person is lying, that's almost like no evidence.
Indeed, some referrals come from HR departments that say that this person has recurrent this and that.
That alone is enough basis.
We would like you to assess and advise us.
Sometimes we get that where the HR is like, this is happening.
Okay.
So can you see this patient and let us know what you think?
Okay.
And sometimes it's like, okay, from what I've seen, we've done checks, whatever. I don't think he's probably not suitable for the role.
Okay.
And then they're able to put him in another role.
Okay.
But another thing I want to say about employers and employees.
Okay.
There's a small company. I don't think they're very big. I don't really know them. I think they cook, but they're signed up to our clinic.
Right.
There's like a catering company.
All right.
But I think the employer is genuinely interested in her employees. And they are so committed to her. Like, you give, even when you do give an excuse duty.
Wow.
The person is telling me that, oh, yes, I have an excuse duty.
But I want to work.
Because they cook, they have to get to work at 4. But then they get off around 12.
All right.
And they're saying that, oh, yes, I have the excuse duty, but today I would like to quickly go and finish so that tomorrow I can now do it because tomorrow I'm not at work.
Okay.
Or today. So they're actually also looking out for the employer. So sometimes I'm like, oh no, this one, like if you come with a very high blood pressure, I'm like, no, this one, you won't go back.
You are not
and
going.
Your boss knows you're here and she's happy that you're here. So lie down, they'll figure it out. So I think that's, although it's a smaller business, but that's genuine care that is coming from the employer also. I don't think those people want to dodge. Dodge
I love where we're ending. It's exactly 3 o'clock on the dot. But you know why I love this? Because now we can get into the actual work, right? Okay. I've already decreed that you are coming next week. But you see, yes, what are the kinds of assessments? Here is somebody whose employer has seen a need, right? Referred, okay? They have been diagnosed, classified, or whatever, and granted excuse duty. They want to go and work. And sometimes they even don't want to be at home for various reasons, okay? So we'll get into all these areas, right? Somebody who has been designated to shift to light duties for a certain period. And then you review again and say, okay, now they can resume normal duties and so on and so forth. But other things are happening in the workplace, or there's a supervisor who said, hell no, you are not doing light duties, okay? And then the other part I want to look at is those who don't go on leave at all. Actually, you can get money in lieu of leave, and we love that here, right? But it may also be impacting on your health and well-being. Indeed, you are mandated to go on leave and not accumulate leave. Am I right?
Yes.
So would you write that, please? Send Nortey on leave. Okay? And maybe the manager will respond and comply. Right? These are areas we need to get into. Okay? And again, the areas where ages are falsified and things and so on and so forth. It's all under occupational health, right? And it can cause you a lot of trouble. With Ernest in sports, he knows. We have football ages and other things, and we'll get into that because biologically, we can validate a person's age, right? Not so.
Yes, I mean for males under 17, yes, you can.
MRI is worrying us.
But beyond that, it's difficult. Even in the girls, it's
Yeah.
difficult to use MRI to determine age.
Okie dokie, right. I gotta go, but let me read this one about compensation. I would like to understand how compensation for workplace injuries is handled in Ghana. Specifically, if an employee is injured while performing their duties and becomes permanently unable to work, does the employer provide compensation in the form of a monthly payment or a lump sum? I ask this because as a retired U.S. Navy veteran who was injured during active service, I receive ongoing support and care for myself and my family. I would like to know how the system works. Oh, great. Let me scroll down and see if I can read the rest of it. Oh, where's my mouse? Ooh. Okay. Thank you very much for your time and clarification, Eugene Apia Bosumtri. That's your brother. Oh?
Yes.
Brother to Ernest. But you're asking you ask Ernest. Right. But we'll get into all those because this tiptoes into the medical legal issues,
Yes, it does.
right? Where workers feel they have a contention with their employers, and we'll get into that on Ultimate Health. Many thanks to my guest, Dr. Joke. I like that because the surname is giving me a hard time. Give me the surname again. Ayenigba. Joke, Adek Joke Ayenigba of the Medics Clinic Cheado. And then Reverend Dr. Ernest Enim Opari, who's with the Kolebu Polyclinic, a family health senior resident, and also with Health Essentials. Stick and stay on Joy 99.7 FM. Next week, we'll go deeper into this because there are things we need to talk about. Don't go away.